Greetings. I am starting to do a video recording of some of the things I have collected over the years, and I'm presenting the background story to those items, starting today with some of the family heirlooms. Here on the dining room table are some things that belonged to my grandma Lyle, my dad's mother. The footed pedestal, the crystal cream and sugar, and the crystal pitcher were wedding presents to my grandmother. She was married in 1917 to Hubert Martin Malang. Grandma was Caspera Matilda Carlson. The picture came from her grandparents, Lars and Marit Scottvold. They were the parents of my grandma Malang's mother, Martha Scottvold. The pedestal dish came from her father and mother, Grandpa Carlson and his wife Martha. And the cream and sugar came from Grandpa Malang's parents, Ole and Lizzie Malang. Now, still thinking of Grandma Malang, in 1942 she celebrated her 25th wedding anniversary, and she was given this silverware set as her silver wedding anniversary. It's 8 to 12 pieces left, so I think a few of the items have been lost. But you can see that even after all these years, it remains in good shape. In addition to Grandma Malang's silver, I'm also the proud possessor of my mother's silverware set. This was the pattern my mother chose to collect for her wedding gifts. Whatever the equivalent of wedding registry was in 1950, Mom asked for Burke's Regency silver. And these are the pieces that she received. The coffee spoons, dinner forks, salad forks, teaspoons, soup spoons, tablespoons, and knives, and just the one serving piece. It was very, very rare that I would see Mom use this silver, mostly because she really hated polishing silver. She had opportunities to receive a silver coffee and tea set from my Aunt Vi and Uncle Stanley, and Mom said, "Oh no, I don't want that stuff. It's far too hard to polish." And truth is, I agree with her. This is a solid silver tray that came from Aunt Vi to my collection, and I just have never been able to get it properly polished. So it's getting blacker and blacker as time moves along. I also, while we're on the subject of silverware, I received this box and its contents from Auntie Vi, who was married to my Uncle Stanley. It originally was given to Mom, but she had no interest in keeping it, so she asked me if I'd like it. And I said, absolutely, I would. It's not a complete setting service, but it does have some interesting items like the small seafood forks, like the butter spreaders, like the long seafood forks, sugar tongs. These are for these two are used to grab sugar cubes and put them into your teacup. A silver lemon squeezer, also a necessary part of a good tea service, because what is tea without lemon? And so some odds and ends that I thought were kind of fun. Oh, grapefruit spoons. And this very beautiful, I think, spoon and cake lifter. Okay, on the bottom shelf of this cabinet are a few other silver and stainless steel pieces picked up from various family members. At the back are a couple of trays. The small oval tray belonged to my mother. The rectangular tray behind it belonged to my Uncle Wally and Auntie Vi. And the square one at the back on the right side was also anniversary gift to my mother. Similar, this one from Auntie Vi and Uncle not Auntie Vi, sorry, Uncle Wally and Auntie Gladys. The coffee pot, and it does still work, full percolator coffee pot from the 1950s. That belonged to Auntie Vi. If you've ever watched I Love Lucy, you will see an exact duplicate of that coffee pot when she serves Ricky Ricardo his morning coffee. These loving cups belonged or came from my Auntie Viola and my Auntie Lillian and my Uncle Wally. This school bell, the silver one, that was my grandmother Lindbergh's on the farm. And whenever lunch or dinner were ready, she would go out the back door of the farmhouse which was everyone's signal to come in for dinner. The sound would carry across the fields. Also from Grandma Lindbergh, whoops. There's a magnet in my pointer. I have two irons that Grandma would heat up on the wood stove. No electricity. An extra handle for when when it was time to change irons. And Mum used to talk about how difficult it was to iron clothes. Using those, they'd be damp, and you would press them until the dampness was gone. Also from Grandma Lindbergh is Kronkaka iron. Grandma would make her krumkaka again on the wood stove. And the last items on that shelf is this small collection of china, 2 teacups, plates, and a pedestal dish. Actually, a gift to my mother from me for Mother's Day many, 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 many years ago. Okay, on this shelf is a collection of anniversary and commemorative plates that came into my collection from my mother and from my auntie Gladys. So they are anniversary plates: Bethel Lutheran Church, Strathern United Church, Knox United Church, Central Lutheran Church, Norwood United Church, Mount Zion, Turtle Mountain Lutheran, Scandia Lutheran. Basically, these plates represent some of the religious culture in our family, in both the Lutheran and United churches. Also, Auntie Gladys was a nurse, so there are a couple of commemorative plates from the Royal Alexandra School of Nursing. These items, small items, were presents, gifts given to Mom from her choir at Mount Zion Lutheran Church. For Mom, her church roots were very important. On this shelf is a really incredible china set that was given to my grandmother Lindeberg by her children for her 25th wedding anniversary in 1930. Now, I had a couple of friends visiting me once who collect classic old china, and they got quite excited when they saw this set. The trademark, J&G Meakin, is quite a well-known trademark of fine china. And I did some research on the internet, and this pattern was a limited edition, special edition china pattern. I have a number of serving pieces, including platters, dinner plates, side plates, bowls, and coffee cups. Now, Mom used to serve her family on those dishes at Christmas, but each year, inevitably, one piece would get broken, and so when Mom was able to get her own nice china, she retired that set. So 1930, that makes it a 90-year-old china set. Now, on the top shelf are other items that came from my grandmother Lindbergh, and a couple of other sources. But these glasses are etched with a J. Christiansen, who was my great-grandfather. Christiansen was his patronymic, and he used that name up until about the 1870s, when he switched to Sonbo. And so that would date those glasses to before 1870, and in Norway, of course, because he didn't come to Canada until just before World War One. This little china cup was my Uncle Melvin's baby cup. Mum believed that Grandma got these two vases from a carnival that came to Kingman sometime in the 1930s. I'm not sure of the provenance of these there's two plates like that. I know they were Grandma Lindbergh's, but where they came from, I don't know. These crystal plates were Mum's. This small sugar bowl was Mum's. The egg cups belonged to Grandma Lindbergh. These two wine glasses are souvenirs from my niece Sarah's wedding day, September 21st, 2013. This crystal plate came from Norway with my great-grandfather, Johannes Sandbo. And that blue plate came from my father. In his bachelor days, Mum said that was the only plate he had in his house. And so Mum kept it for all those years just because it was my dad's bachelor plate. If I remember the story correctly, he had one pot, one fry pan, and that plate. The lamp does remind me of a story about my Grandma Lindbergh that makes me very proud to be a member of her family. It's one of those stories I don't know if I can get through without a little bit of choke up. My Grandma Lindbergh was one of the strongest inspirations in my life, who taught me the love of reading and the love of a good book. Grandma came to Canada in 1905 at the age of 21. She spoke minimal English. She had been taught Norwegian. She had gone as far as the Norwegian equivalent of high school and then a year of business college. Grandma came to Canada with her brother, not speaking very much English, enough to get by. And Mum told me the story that to teach herself how to read and write English, there were no teachers, no English as a second language class in those years. Grandma would sit down at the kitchen table with the lamp when her day's work was done. She'd have whatever she could get her hands on in terms of newspapers, magazines, books in English. She would have her Norwegian dictionary, her English dictionary, and that is how she taught herself to read, write, and speak better English. I'm very proud that she would do that. Again, no ESL courses in those days, but she recognized the importance of learning English if she was going to live in Canada. Not to mention the fact I'm rather proud that she was kind of a brilliant woman who could do that. And let's remember, when Grandma arrived here in the fall of 1905, she was married January 1906, had her first baby in May 1906. By 1911, she had 5 babies under 5, which included a set of twins. Yet she still found the time to teach herself English. And Mom said another way she entertained her family, she played Spanish guitar. And she would sit down with the family gathered around her, play guitar, and sing. So, just a little story about my grandma. Actually, my favorite grandma, but I shouldn't say that, but it's the truth.